Very good morning, my dear students. Hope you all will be fine by the grace of God. Wish you all a very happy new year. Today, I am going to continue with the same chapter, that is chapter 10, Disaster Management. Let us recall what we have studied in our previous lecture. In our previous lecture, we have studied about disasters, type of disaster, effect of disaster, etc. In today's lecture, we'll study about nature and scope of disaster, disaster management, district disaster management authority, first aid and emergency action, etc. Contents omitted due to COVID problem will be cancelled out. Here are some slides, children. You can see. Here the effect of disaster are shown, that desertification, various problem of crops, global warming, rising level of ocean. This all already effects you have studied. Here you can see how the disaster occurred, the sudden event that leads to the huge loss of life and property. You can define disaster in this way. Here you can see what are the disaster: earthquake may occur, cyclone, terrorist attack, atomic power plant flare, etc. Let us start with our lecture portion. So we are going to start from the nature and scope of disaster, and because rest all we have finished in the previous lecture. Here we'll see some important facts can be there regarding disaster. First is the pre-disaster phase, then warning phase, emergency phase, then rehabilitation phase, recovery phase, reconstruction phase. So we will see here that taking into consideration the nature and scope of disaster are important for common citizen. So first is the phase of emergency. In the phase of emergency, we'll see that important characteristic of this phase are that maximum lives can be saved. This is the importance of this phase. Then various action like the rescue operation, medical assistance, first aid, restoring communication, etc. should be performed, and the people should be removed from the affected area. The seriousness or gravity of the disaster can be estimated in this phase only. Now, the second phase is the transitional phase. Rehabilitation work is started in this phase after the subsidence or subsiding the disaster. It includes clearing up debris. Debris, you all know that it is regarding to the whatever waste products are there, restoring water supply, repairing roads. So whatever the after the disaster, whatever debris or whatever the waste things are formed due to disaster, that should be removed. Water supply should be restored. Repairing the road should be done. This or so that should be done so that the life of public can come to the normalcy. Rehabilitation of the victim is important aspect in this phase, and monetary help should be done. It helps to soothe the person's mental stress also. Then permanent mean of the earning livelihood should be also done, so that is the true rehabilitation. Now we'll see the next is the reconstruction phase. This is highly complicated phase as it begins in the transitional phase only. People reconstruct their building and facilities like roads, water supply, etc. Farming practices are restarted. It takes long time. Planet Earth has experienced many natural disasters that everybody knows. Recently, so many storms and all occur, so that all floods and all. Now, listening to description of those disasters bring numbness to our mind. Now, we can see that in the Asian continent and region of Pacific Ocean, so many disasters occur. Huge loss of life and planet Earth was occurred. Now, such condition of natural imbalance are arisen due to greed of the economic progress of the human being. So but natural, if we are cutting all the trees and all everything, we are spoiling for more to construct more and more infrastructure so that we can earn more money, so it will affect to the economic progress as well as the human being also. And then old problems of several years have become frightening now. So this point you have to underline. Increasing needs, emerging problem are now at the extreme, and it increased after the World War II. Now, condition of instability also arisen due to various reasons like the economic inequality, racial, that means they are doing the racism, the religion differences, terrorism, abduction. Abduction mean forcibly they are removing the person from their place, then social differences, etc. Production and use of harmful chemical is also banned in the developed countries, as well as the production is of these chemicals should be wiped out as a human race is common in developing country and the poor countries same. So this is all about the nature and scope of disaster. Another threat to the human being is from the atomic energy plants. In 2014, there was a huge landslide also in the village Malin, and that is Taluka Ambegaon, district Pune. So here you can see the images also. These are the images. Now this is during the disaster, and after disaster this again is school is reconstructed. Now due to the atomic problem also it may occur, disaster may occur, like in the atomic energy plant in Chernobyl, Russia has so many ill effect when the leakage of radiation was there. That was that effects are still experienced. So this way the atomic radiations are also harmful to us. This atomic plant was only used for the electricity generation, but the radiation coming out from this causes the big disasters. Now, leakage risk of radiation leakage is increasing due to the carelessness. So, importance of disaster management become the foremost need for all the nation. Now, it is most necessary for all the citizen of the countries because they are the main sufferer. Any disaster occur, the citizens are the main sufferer. So everybody should take care of it. The direct participation of citizen in disaster management is very necessary. So disaster management schemes should be changed with respect to the location, time, nature of disaster, etc. It should not be restricted in a particular period, and there may be any type of disaster, it should be overcome. Next we are going to see the disaster management. So here is the disaster management. We can see here, children. Disaster may be minor or major. It may be short or long. It should be overcome, and effective disaster management should be necessary for either it is long or it is short or it is minor or it is major. For every type of disaster, it should be disaster management should be proper. There is close relationship between the disaster management and the public participation. Disaster management is either prevention of disasters or making the arrangement to face it. At least we should be able to face it. Disaster is a very fast process. In fact, it is an accident. So, we should know that what we should do regarding this. Now, here, children, this portion is full cancel for you. So, now we will see disaster management is achieving or time to time improving the ability to face the disaster through the scientific way as well as by careful observation. So, this point you have to underline that disaster management is achieving or time to time improving the ability to face disaster through scientific and careful observation and analysis of the data which are observed. Now, preparation and action plan through the study of various aspects like preventive measures, rehabilitation, reconstruction, etc. So, here we can see that it can be divided into two parts. Disaster management can be divided into two parts: pre-disaster management, post-disaster management. In pre-disaster, we'll see this include the complete preparation and planning to face any type of the disaster. Here, we have to identify the pro-disaster areas. That means where it is going to occur. Second, collecting the information about intensity of the disaster. That means how serious it is, and probable sites of disaster through predictive intensity map. Already you know that you have studied already regarding this, that how we can predict. Now, getting special training for disaster management. Then, increasing awareness about the management. So, these all are the pre-disaster management. Let us come to the post-disaster management. Here we'll see the post-disaster management. So, providing all type of necessary help to the victims. That is first point. Second point, participation of preferably local people saved from disaster in arranging the help to the victim. Third is quick establishment of help center, and different type of disaster need different type of the control. It is but natural that which type of the disaster is there, according to that we have to manage and control. Categorization, this is fourth point. Categorization of the help material received from control center, delivering the material to victim, and continuous review of the help should be done. Then fifth point is being always prepared for disaster rescue. Rescue, you all know what is rescue. Next is, here is a chart that a main aspect of disaster management. This is the management cycle. So here we can see, first of all we'll see here, that is the preparation. So in this, plan is prepared to minimize the destruction in any disaster. Second is redemption, that is the action of being saved, that how many lives we can save, maximum life we should try to save. Plan from minimizing the damage of the society and country. Then preparedness, that a plan chalk out so as to get the quick response from general public and administration. Now the fourth one is impact of disaster, how much intensity of the various aspects of disaster and disaster management are reviewed in this. Then the next is response. Response to the disaster is to be given immediately after the incidents. So this factor followed by disaster strike in the cycle. Now resurgence. Resurgence means appraisal, or we can see revival after the disaster. What is the meaning of resurgence? That means revival after the disasters. So resurgence is an important link between the emergency measures and national progress. Resurrection is a stage used for the welfare and rehabilitation of the nation. So, uh, res- uh, resur- uh, resurrection is the appraisal. Now, next is the restoration. This is an important link between the measures after disaster and national development. This step is useful for the progress of nation and rehabilitation. So this way this cycle is completed, children. You have to study this cycle and see if any problem is there, you can discuss with me. Now we will come to the next page. We'll see, children, here. Here, through the avoidance of natural disaster is, you know that these disasters are two types, man-made and natural. So natural disaster we cannot avoid, so loss out of it can be minimized only, but natural disaster we cannot avoid, only man-made disaster we can avoid. Now here, children, we can see this part is cancelled for you. Again this part also cancel for you. Then this also cancel for you. That means this page mostly cancel for you. Then this also cancel for you. Now only we have to see this district disaster management authority. At the district level, district collector is responsible for district management. So this you have to keep in your mind, that at the district level, district collector is responsible for district management and implementation and rehabilitation schemes. Collector is planning, coordinating and controlling the implementation of rehabilitation program. It gives out the he gives out the necessary instruction also, reviews also regarding entire system. District collector is also responsible for designing the schemes for the each district separately and each type of the disaster also separately, and getting those sanctioned at the state level authorities. That means if from the central it is passed, so at the state level also it should the authority should sanction it. Now next is we can see district wise control unit. District control unit is established immediately either after the impact of disaster or getting intimation about it, whenever we get the information about it or just after the impact of disaster. It reviews about various aspects of disaster and keep continuous contact with the various agencies like the army, air force, navy, telecommunication, etc. Then parliament also for the help. It is also responsible for coordination with various voluntary organization also for the disaster management help. You know that so many volunteers also come out during the disaster. Like here in Mumbai also you might have seen during the raining when it is heavy flood, that time so many volunteer organization also come to help. Now this part is cancelled for you. Then this also cancel for you. So now we'll see the first aid and emergency action. You have studied that in earlier classes also you have studied about this. Use of this knowledge is useful for offering the help to the classmate or the people which are in surrounding and sufferer of any disaster. So sometime you might have seen this type of the sign are there, explosive and flammable, inflammable, etc. So you have to check, you should be aware regarding this because they show the awareness that we should be careful. Symbol given beside are seen used around us. Now these symbols can be ignored. Such symbols are used to avoid the mishaps. Now here you can see various type of disasters are there, children. Following A is one type of disaster, B, then C. All here the different type of disasters are shown here. Now we'll see here in emergency condition the various transportation method, and as shown here you can see the different method how we should carry to the disaster victim. Here A, B, C, D, E, F. This all already you have studied in first aid. So this should be adopted during the disaster. Now in emergency condition, the various transportation method like the cradle method, then the carrying on book, carrying that on two hands are followed. This method should be adopted during the disaster. We face different type of the major or minor disaster in our daily life. Like the variety of disaster are there like accident, stampede, injuries, etc. So children, the last topic is the first aid kit. We'll see here it is essential to have the material necessary for the first aid kits. So whatever the material is available in that first aid kit, that we can see here in the list is given here children. Here we can see the necessary material what is there in that first aid box, that is the bandage strip of the different size, wound gauze, triangular and circular bandage, medicated cotton, hand gloves, clean and dry cloth piece, soap, etc. Antiseptic, that is it can be Dettol or Savlon, safety pins, blade, small pins, needle, band-aid, torch, etc. Scissor, thermometer, petroleum jelly, this all comes under the first aid kits only. So whether there had been a mock drill by the fighters under the disaster management scheme, you might have seen in sometime in some schools also. So which techniques we can see that first is the mock drill. During this practice to check the preparedness of the facing the disaster as early as possible, either it is virtual or apparent situation of the disaster is created to check the reaction time for any type of the disaster. So that is the first point. Then trained personnel observe the responsibilities to check the execution of the people or execution of the plan which is designed for the disaster redressal. Redressal mean remedial measure, and this helps to check the efficiency of the system which is prepared for the disaster redressal. Mock drill is the arrangement on disaster in fire in various type of the with the help of the firefighters. It is shown in various school, and it includes the demonstration like the extinguishing fire, rescuing the people trapped of the this higher floor of the building, rescuing the person whose clothing have catched fire, and sometimes the activities also arrange such activities. Sometimes they are arranged with the voluntary organization also, sometimes with the police force also. Now here we'll see children that objectives of the mock drill. So first is evaluating the response to the disaster. Second is improving the coordination between various department of disaster control. Third is identification of own abilities. Fourth is improving the ability of quick response to disaster. And the next is checking the competency of the planned action. Six is identifying the possible error and risk. So this way you can see the disaster management. Now children, here you can see some one pic is there. This portion is cancelled for you. Now here you can see one pic is there. In that you can see that cleanliness and health is always coexisting. Give up the addiction and stay happy. Healthy life is the key of success. Follow the rules to avoid disaster. So these all are the ways by which we can make our life beautiful, make our life easy. And today's students are the future citizen of the country, so you all should learn these all habits, children. So this way this chapter is getting over here. And now, children, this is the last chapter and this is the last lecture of 10th standard. Hope you all have understood whatever I explained. If there is any problem, you can discuss on WhatsApp. And study well, children. You have to get good marks. All my children, all my students should get good marks in board exam. So just work hard for that. Whatever help I can do for you, that surely I will do for you. Thank you, children.